Good evening, judges. My name is Samber Gabriel Manggombrap from SMA Negeri 1 Jayapura, and I'm speaking here as the first speaker from the opposition team. Now, the motion that will be debated this evening is this House believes that social media has done more harm than good to modern romantic relationship. Therefore, I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Dear judges, looking at how rapidly growing social media now, it's already come into our consideration that social media has already become taking a toll towards the younger generation's life, especially. Now, before I continue to more definition, I want to review three things from the first speaker from the proposition team. Firstly, then, sh- the first speaker didn't give enough context about what she defined about the TikTok advice or TikTok standards that she keep explaining that could affect the modern relationship, right? And also, the secondly is that didn't she didn't specify on which advice should be taken, because considering on how fast and even how many different experiences from many people on social media, it could actually become an actual advice, but just skip that. But the third rebuttal is that she didn't mention about the informative sides of social media that could be used as a supporting community, for example like WikiHow, and how would that actually works. Therefore, I'm gonna redefine the definition on under opposition side. Firstly, then, what is modern romantic relationship? Modern romantic relationship is a romantic relationship commonly developing among younger generations that still in search for their path or way on their love life or on their relationship life. Now, what is the urgency? The urgency is that we should be focusing on concerning about the rapid development of social media amongst younger generation now, which already taken a major part, not only on their life, but also affecting their love life and relationship. One thing that I want to frame here is that we as the proposition and also the opposite, where's the opposition here talking about relationship amongst the younger generation, focusing more because they are the majority of relationship that using social media more than other generations, right? Now there are two actors here that we should focus about. Firstly, first is the couple, which is the main and the most vulnerable actors under this site because they are still in search for their own way or path on their romantic relationship, right? And then the second actor is the most powerful actor, which is the social media itself that already become the main push factor, that main push factor, and commonly become the standard and commonly become already become the only source of way for these people to seek for standard on inspiration, for example on younger modern relationship. Jumping into my arguments then. First argument is that social media could actually be useful as a guide for people to seek help once the relationship has already going backwards or already taking a toxic way. The two things that I want to explain here. Firstly, notice on how the possibility of domestic violence. We're talking about the domestic violence among couples, among relationships, among people relationships still become a thing. Now, the major role of social media here is that social media could be useful as a medium for them to seeking help, for them to escape, for them to actually get out from the toxic relationship. For example, popular platforms such as X is is already is already the most popular platform that already looking forward by the younger generations for victims, for these domestic violence victims on their relationship to speak up and escape their relationship for seeking help. And also, not only that they could stand by themselves, but also they could stand with other people, which explains to my second layer here, which is they could also create a supporting group that could be together, they working together, seeking for help, so that they didn't feel lonely, so that they didn't feel like they're facing every problem by themselves, and making sure that out there are also people that still struggling and still struggling and still on their searching for any help, so that they could be stronger together and they could find a way to get out of here. For example, like there are many supporting online groups, uh supporting online community, for example like ibunda.com, etc. Moving on to my second argument then. My second argument here is that TikTok advice could actually be a really useful platform for people to save their relationship. Not only that social media having a beneficial impact on once their relationship has taken a toxic toll, but social media could also be helpful to save this vulnerable relationship, these relationships that actually still could be saved. Two layers here. Firstly, social media could be a platform for them, for the people in relationship, so that they could seek for advice from informative sources. For example, for informative sources, or even in general social media platforms. This is exactly what related to my first argument, is that basically they could as search for on how to save their relationship. For example, they could looking up by searching up on informative source like WikiHow, for example, just like I mentioned before in my review tool. And also a general social media such as TikTok, such as X, such as Instagram, and many other social media platforms that provides this kind of informations that coming from many people that using the same social media platform, right? Also, for example, these people want to know on how should I fix my relationship. For example, they could search on how to through proper communications. For example, they could fix the way they communicate, or maybe they could giving or receiving gift, for example, they could taking a toll on that. And also this leading to my second layer then, which social media could also help them to detect or search their love language, because as we all know, judges, many people, especially these younger generations, they are still in search, they are still having this major influence of social media, right? So that they could use this platform actually to seek for detect or knowing what actually becomes their love language. For example, as there are many love languages out there like physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, etc. That they both could discuss, for example, and that could actually make a great turn in their relationship. For example, once their relationships um are already in threat and for example like already um having a problem, for example. Now what's this conclude then? This conclude that social media actually having more benefit other than harm, just like unlike what the first proposition says. Because if these younger couples actually become smart to use their social media, for example, these younger generations are the one that knows how to seek for information on social media, they could actually use this properly, and that way they could actually save the relationship other than harming it. That's why proud to oppose as the opposition. Thank you.